Welcome to a series of 4 videos on some reactions in aqueous solutions. There will be 4 videos. That includes this introduction. There will be a video on dissociation in the context of solids dissolving in water. There will be a video on solubility rules. In the last video, we'll cover precipitation reactions and net ionic equations. I'm the narrator. My name is Jim Hart. I've been at PCC for over 10 years in different capacities. We will be using the Thinker Buddy that you are already familiar with. So when the Thinker Buddy appears, it'll be directed to pause the video and work some stuff out, and then when you're done, you'll continue the video. Reactions in aqueous solution is really a huge topic, and we're not going to cover everything right away. We're just going to cover a limited subset, those involving ionic compounds, and really we'll talk about how they go into solution. And then the only reaction type we're going to talk about is something called precipitation reaction. So it's not everything about aqueous solutions is going to be covered. You have the skills that are necessary to get started in all this. You've dealt with ionic compounds, you've learned how to recognize them, you've learned how to name them, you've learned how to write formulas for them. Those are all important things you're going to use. So if you've forgotten any of it, you're a little rusty, you should go back and review before we move on. There's the first appearance of the Thinker Buddy. And the first thing I'm going to ask you to do is to identify compounds that are ionic out of a list of compounds. Here's a list. So go ahead and pause and pick out the ones that are ionic compounds and leave the ones that are not ionic out of the list. So go ahead and pause and continue when you are finished. The ionic compounds are the ones with metals in their name or in their symbol. There's a symbol of a metal in there, there's a name of a metal. First of all, if it's going to be an ionic compound, it's got to be a compound. Well, all of these fit that criterion. They're all 2 or more elements together. So we have compounds, and the ones that are ionic are the ones with sodium, iron, and magnesium. The other 3 do not have a metal present or the ammonium ion, so they are not ionic. After watching this introductory video, the first of the other 3 videos you should watch is the dissociation PowerPoint video. In there, you're going to see described how we represent, the most important thing is how we represent ions in solution that come from ionic compounds when you dissolve them in water. How do we write them with chemical equations and chemical formulas and phase labels? That's really very important. That's the most important part. Another video that you're going to watch is the solubility rules video, and that has to do with ions in solution, getting them in solution from a solid, or if they come together, do they form a solid? Some dissolve, some don't. And this is tabulated in a list of experimental observations. And these experimental observations are called solubility rules. It's something that we don't need to memorize, but we will have to know how to use them. And this is the list of solubility rules that I use in the videos. Yours might be a little different. The important thing is to be able to use them, not to memorize them. The last video in this set covers precipitation reactions and net ionic equations. What happens when we mix 2 solutions? Well, in order to answer that question, we need to use our solubility rules. And if a reaction does occur, we've determined through our use of the solubility rules that it has happened, we'll be able to write 2 different kinds of equations for the reaction. And an example, magnesium chloride and sodium hydroxide makes magnesium hydroxide, and there's still sodium chloride in the solution. And the net ionic equation for that just shows the important part. That's magnesium ions coming together with the hydroxide ions to form the magnesium hydroxide. We'll see how we can do these in that video. You're ready to move on. So go ahead and make sure you watch them interactively. Take the Thinker Buddy seriously. Pause the videos, work through the problems that you're asked to, and let your instructors know if you have any questions about any of this.